Greetings, Sentinels fans! Let's look at another wonderful villain from our game, Citizen Dawn. Citizen Dawn is a case of a villain who wasn't changed too much. She was one of my favorite villains in Enhanced Edition, so this says very much, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There are a few things though. Citizen Dawn's main deal is that, for the most part, the damage you will be taking will be coming from her citizens instead of Dawn herself. So she is equipped with various delaying tactics and methods of keeping citizens fighting while occasionally hitting the field herself. The biggest consideration with her is the fact that in both versions, if there are some citizens in Dawn's trash, 5 in Enhanced Edition and 3 to 5 in Definitive Edition, she will flip to her reverse side, where she is completely immune to damage, stopping your progress cold, and won't flip back until 2 to 4 citizens or 3 to 5 citizens in DE are in play. Thankfully, she can only flip to her invincible side once, so when she flips back you can massacre her forces with impunity. Now with Enhanced Edition, you have to wait until more citizens show up, but Definitive Dawn discovers more citizens on this flip side, so you likely won't have to wait so long. Just grit your teeth and turtle up. Thankfully, Citizen Dawn has the citizen keyword, so she counts towards the amount of citizens in play. And now we will look at the cards that didn't make the transition from Enhanced to Definitive. Wait. They all made it? Yeah, I think every Dawn card that was in Enhanced Edition made it over to Definitive. Sure, a bunch of them got changed, but also a bunch of them did not change at all. Citizens Hammer and Anvil, as well as Citizens Assault and Battery, haven't changed at all. Healing Light and Blinding Blast are the same as well. Most of the other cards are essentially the same, but with some changes. So I guess let's start with the citizens. We already got Hammer, Anvil, Assault, and Battery, so let's look at the Edgelords. The trio of Blood, Sweat, and Tears all have their own abilities, but they gain additional effects when more than one of them are around. If Enhanced Edition Blood is alone, then he bops the weakest hero for 1 damage, pretty insignificant. If Sweat is with him, he also hits all heroes for 1 damage, so a bit more worrisome, though it puts him basically on par with Citizen Assault. If Tears is with him, then all his damage is increased by 1, suddenly making Blood's damage output a bit concerning. In Definitive Edition, he still bops the weakest hero, but this time when paired with Sweat, he heals himself each turn, and if Tears is with him, he forces 1 hero to discard a card. None of these being particularly nasty effects, but they can build. Enhanced Sweat destroys 1 ongoing card if she is by herself. If she is paired up with Tears, then she destroys all ongoing cards controlled by that player. If she is paired up with Blood, then she deals the controlling hero 1 damage for every ongoing card she destroys. Definitive Sweat still breaks 1 hero card, but pair her with Blood and she'll destroy a second one. Pair her with Tears and she will attack all heroes for 1 damage. So, Sweat can potentially bully 1 hero in Enhanced Edition, breaking all their ongoings and smacking them around. Definitive Sweat has her spread the misery a bit and calm her down just a little. But then we look at Citizen Tears. Enhanced Tears forces a party-wide discard of 1, and if she is paired with Sweat, she forces all heroes to discard a second card. And if Blood is also there, she deals damage equal to the amount discarded by the player that turn. So wouldn't that just equal 2 damage per hero? Oh, we'll get to that. Definitive Tears also forces each hero to discard a card, but when she pairs with Blood, she attacks the healthiest hero for 2 damage, and attacks the least healthy hero for 2 damage if paired with Sweat. You will note that between versions, all their solo effects are the same, but their team-up bonuses have been softened in Definitive Edition. It's still a lot to handle at once, but it isn't quite as punishing. So now let's review all that with a screen that takes a long time to edit. All 3 of them are out, and in Enhanced Edition they go in the order they've been played. For this example, we'll go alphabetically like we have been. All of Blood's attacks are boosted. He hits the weakest hero, then hits all heroes. Sweat destroys 1 ongoing, then all the ongoings played by that hero, before hitting them a whole bunch. Tears forces 2 discards from all heroes, then hits them all for 2. The Definitive Trio has Blood hit the weakest for 1, heals to full, and forces 1 hero to discard a card. Sweat destroys 2 ongoings, and hits all heroes for 1. Tears will then force a discard for everyone and hit the heroes with the highest and lowest HP. Altogether, I'd say Blood and Tears got less dangerous, but Sweat made a bit of a lateral move. Now Tears I want to spotlight some more, because not only is the discard not really as bad in Definitive games, as card draw has been made a bit more plentiful, as well as a bit less necessary due to discard, summon, and salvage actions. Drawing and playing cards isn't the end-all be-all for setting up anymore, so card discard is similarly not as deadly in action anymore. It can still mess you up, obviously, but not quite as bad. But with enhanced Tears, not only do discards hurt more, but Tears causes more discards, and she does more damage with more discards. That effect only synergizes with Dawn's Blinding Blast, which forces 2 discards for all heroes. So in addition to the 1 or 2 discards from Tears, you can end up dumping 2 more cards from being hit across the board for 4 damage. Ouch. And to further highlight this, you could end up with blood, sweat, and tears at the start of the game if you bring 5 heroes. And if you get that, it is similarly possible for Dawn to spend her first card play on Blinding Blast, which will cause the entirety of your starting hand to be dumped. Yeah, that doesn't feel good. This is pretty much a lose condition right at the start, because unless you have a base power that deals damage, you can't damage the VTM squad. You can't double skip for an extra draw because you are losing 2 cards per turn regardless from Tears effects. And even if you manage to get cards on the table, say from environment cards, only equipment is safe, as Sweat will break your ongoings unless you outpace her. And of course, while you are stun-locked into oblivion, Dawn is still playing, potentially bringing out Anvil, who will make the trio harder to kill, Truth, who will then make the Vandals invincible, or return with the Dawn, which will bring the trio back from the dead. So needless to say, it is probably a good thing that Tears got a bit of a nerf. Especially since Blinding Blast did not change. Don't worry, the rest won't have such a long section. Next is Truth and Dare, and their usual effects are still the same between versions. Truth still makes all the other citizens invincible, while protecting himself like the asshole that he is. How dare villains use stun locking and invincibility straps? Only players can do that! And Dare still makes heroes receive more damage from all hits. The changes are that when one is on the field and the other shows up, the first still leaves, but the effects are slightly different. Dare originally hits all hero for 1 before going to trash. Now he still deals the damage, but is now buried, which is a bit more favorable to the heroes as he no longer would go to Dawn's flip count. Truth still quits the field upon his brother showing up, but he used to hit the healthiest hero for 3 before leaving. Now he heals each citizen for 2 before being buried. Finally, we have the 4 seasons. All 4 of them have solo abilities in Enhanced Edition, but Definitive Edition has them with those same abilities in addition to extra effects if others of the group are around. Spring heals all citizens for 1 at the end of the villain turn, but the new Spring also heals the other seasons for 2 at the start of each villain turn. Summer burns 3 damage into the 2 healthiest heroes each turn, but New Summer also has the other seasons deal the healthiest hero 1 fire damage each. Both Autumns destroy all ongoing cards held by the most hurt hero, but Definitive Autumn also has each other season destroy an environment card each. And finally, both Winters deal 2 damage to all heroes, and Definitive Winter also has the other seasons each destroy a hero ongoing card. So the seasons kept their individual abilities, but they have become much more dangerous when others of their team are there. With all the minions covered, let's look at Dawn's ongoings. Channel the Eclipse in EE has Dawn play extra cards at the start of her turn and damage herself a bit at the end of her turn. DE looked at this damage and said, you know, Dawn's too badass for that, and took that self-damage and instead made it so that she hit everyone except herself and her friends for 2 damage. Dawn go boom. So that hurts. How about Luminous Leadership? Well, it is probably the most mild of Dawn's cards in Enhanced Edition, as all it does is heal each citizen 1 hit point per turn. That's it. That kind of healing is very easy to outpace. Leadership in Definitive Edition, though, is a bit more concerning. +1 damage by all citizens. So, we have switched from this card being basically a Citizen Spring to being a Citizen Dare. Additionally, if Leadership is out and Dawn is alone, she will discover a citizen to help her out. So that one hurts more. Final one is Return with the Dawn. In Enhanced Edition, Dawn will grab a random citizen from her trash and put it back into play. So imagine you just managed to nuke Truth. Congrats, he is now back. Well, in Definitive Edition, the card is even more rough. This one will take 1 to 3 citizens from the trash based on the amount of heroes playing, and she selects them from the lowest HP to highest. So Citizen Hammer, Citizen Dare, Citizen Summer, Citizen Sweat, all those will be the ones that will be coming back a lot. The more defensive ones, like Hammer and Truth, will have low priority, But if very few citizens are down, they can still come back. So instead of not knowing which single citizen will come back to haunt you, you know precisely which ones will be back. But unless you are playing with the minimum required heroes, you will be dealing with more than one coming back. So that's a lot to deal with, but we still have one-shots to look at. I already said that Healing Light and Blinding Blast are unchanged between editions, so really we only have one to talk about. The classic, Devastating Aurora. This one has a reputation of being one of the meanest cards in the game, and for good reason. Enhanced Edition Aurora destroys all hero ongoing cards and equipment, and destroys all environment cards. She can instantly reset all of your heroes' setup, with a few exceptions, and it being a one-shot means it can take instant effect, so it can come out at any time. And there are some people who think that this is a bad card, that it's a bit too nasty. I'm not one of those people. Yeah, it can suck for a newer player to be blindsided by the Aurora, but a player who is aware of it can mentally prepare for it, stockpile spare equipment so they can set up again. Villains do need their big equalizer in order to be able to win, and as long as setup wipes are infrequent, they aren't too egregious. But even still, this card did get a nerf. Not much of one, but it is there. Definitive Aurora still breaks all of your ongoings and items, but hey, it breaks her ongoings too, so that's nice, right? Okay. How about Dawn deals herself 5 damage? No? Okay, well then this card still hurts, but I love it. All in all, everything in Dawn's new deck is still recognizably Dawn. A few cards were brought down a bit, but a lot of cards got additional effects to bring her more in line with the power boost the heroes in general got. I like how Dawn is built, as her character card is not the dangerous part. Her damage primarily comes from her citizens, but they are each dangerous in their own right, and you can get punished for eliminating them, as Dawn will flip over and become invincible until her army is once again backing her up. This leads me to a strategy of prioritizing which citizens to eliminate and which to ignore. Citizens Blood and Spring are each ones that are worth ignoring. But of course, Truth is maximum priority, with the really damaging ones being the next to go. After that, Assault, Battery, Autumn, Tears. It's up to you and your lineup which is safe to let be. And of course, Dawn also has her event and critical event. Now Dawn does not have an extra variant in Enhanced Edition, so this is all new. Regular event makes citizens immune to damage that they deal. So, Blood, Sweat, Tears, and Assault are all immune to melee. Hammer and Summer are both immune to fire. Winter's immune to cold, Dare's immune to psychic, and Battery and Dawn are both immune to energy. This makes it so citizens can counter a bunch of different heroes. This makes them slightly harder to kill, but not too much. Most heroes have more than one type of damage in their arsenal, even if they concentrate on one type, and not all the types are covered. But it's the critical event that gets more insane. This Dawn has merged with the Eclipse, and always has ongoing cards to hurt you with. Her ongoing cards are now indestructible, so the ongoing destruction available to you isn't going to help with that. However, whenever a citizen is slain, you can bury one of these ongoing cards. And this of course sets the precedent of bury not being the same as destroy. So yes, you can remove these cards by taking out citizens. But if Dawn doesn't have any ongoing cards at the start of her turn, she will discover one. And since it is the start of her turn, she will get the benefit of that card as if it was always there. Additionally, at the end of her turn, she smacks the healthiest hero for an amount of damage equal to the amount of citizens in play, and then she will discover a citizen. And if there are no more citizens to discover, she shuffles her trash into her deck, setting up more reinforcements on the next turn. So she will always have at least one ongoing card, and usually at least one citizen. This marks a shift away from turtling up that her normal mode is all about, and going more for a bull rush. She is looking to smash those heroes quickly and brutally. And there are some fun things that happen as a result of these changes. First, when citizens Truth or Dare come in and chase their brother away, the one that leaves is now buried, meaning that with Dawn discovering citizens every turn, you can very well end up with these two tagging in and out every turn, while smacking you with the bonus effects. You will need to actually take one of them out to stop the cycle. Second, you still have to decide what to break and what to leave. Though this time, instead of citizens, it is ongoing cards. Getting rid of citizens will bury an ongoing, so you will have to decide if clearing out the citizens is worth dealing with a new ongoing instead of the one currently in play. And this new ongoing is going to be random, since her discover effects are going to make her shuffle her deck a lot, so the buried ongoings will be all over the place. All this makes Critical Dawn a pretty significant difficulty jump. Dawn is excellent at being the big bad of both versions of the core game. She is going to be the big test for the newest players. Her only real downside are occasional frustrations that she creates, being the discards, the immunity, and the setup wipe. Definitive Edition does a good job of tuning her so that those frustrations are less prevalent, nerfing tears, letting Dawn discover citizens on her flip side, and providing minor downsides for Dawn on devastating Aurora, which granted is like applying a band-aid to a severed arm. But they've buffed Dawn in other areas so that she doesn't lose her threat level. She is still a dangerous opponent with just enough curveballs in her deck that players cannot mindlessly play against her. They need some kind of plan and coordination. Now, Definitive Dawn is no longer the toughest villain in the core game, as with Definitive Edition, Grand Warlord Voss has shot to the front in that regard. But we can talk about that in a different video. And I think that about covers things. Take care, friends! I have to turn the AC off while I'm doing this, so let's try to make this quick. I have a ton of typos in this script right now. You can't double skip. You can't scubble. Truth still makes all the other citizens invisible. That would be terrifying. Wow. I did not proofread this script, my god. And Battery and Dawn are both immune to energy. I actually need to fact check this one because I did not actually look at Dawn's character card when doing this, which I probably ought to have.